You ever see an actor that you've seen before and you're like, that's the guy who does the thing, and then they do a different thing and then you're like, what? What's up, Throttlers? Aristotle Full Throttle here. July was very busy for me. I went to VidCon, I went to Comic-Con, I was in a commercial, so that's why there's been a bit of a delay on these videos. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate your support. And while you guys are here, I might as well mention that in my last video, there were a couple of giveaways that nobody claimed. So go back and watch that video because there's stuff hidden in there. Watch closely, watch it all the way through and to the end because it helps out the channel. And remember to like and share this video, turn on those notifications, and subscribe because if you do all of those things, that qualifies you to win a PS4.
Oh, isn't that special?
And today I'm talking about my favorite actors who have completely changed my perception of them. One of my favorites on this list, Bryan Cranston. I mean, who would have thought the guy from Malcolm in the Middle would have been such a badass?
I am the danger.
I remember watching the first episode of Breaking Bad going, I don't know how I'm ever gonna buy the dad from Malcolm in the Middle as a bad guy. But then about 10 minutes in, I was like, oh, he's good.
You're goddamn right.
Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven. Here's a funny story. Clint Eastwood was known for being in all those spaghetti westerns and kind of being a tough guy with a big gun and Dirty Harry movies. But when he directed and starred in Unforgiven, it was kind of a commentary on his own career. And ironically enough, him playing a cowboy who's actually reconciling all of the damage he's done in his life was kind of a cathartic way for Clint Eastwood to put to rest his whole cowboy image. And it was a great movie, and in fact, it won Best Picture that year. One of my favorite behind-the-scenes stories about that movie was that Clint Eastwood is notorious for only doing about 2 takes per shot. There's a shot in that movie where Clint Eastwood is out of focus, actually, and that's kind of unheard of. You always want to get your shots really crisp and in focus when you're making a major Hollywood movie. So after they did about 1 or 2 takes, Clint Eastwood said, "All right, cut, moving on." Sorry, Mr. Clint Eastwood, but you were out of focus in those last 2 shots. Can we just do another take? Could you tell it was me? Well, yeah. Moving on. It's one of those great Hollywood stories you hear around this town. Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was the man with one red shoe. He was the guy from The Burbs. He was the sidekick in Dragnet. The sidekick. But I remember as a kid wanting to watch Dragnet just because Tom Hanks was in it, not because of Dan Aykroyd. So up until a certain point, Tom Hanks was only really known for being a funny guy. Even in the movie Big, where he was nominated for an Academy Award, he was still really funny. But it wasn't until Philadelphia where Tom Hanks really reached down into the depths of his soul and created such a beautiful and memorable performance that we can all celebrate and cherish for times to come. He won an Oscar for that, rightfully so. Very moving. I highly recommend that movie. It's directed by Jonathan Demme, one of my favorite directors of all time. He also directed Silence of the Lambs, and if you've been watching the show, you know that that's like my favorite movie ever. He's also from Long Island. I'm from Long Island. Small world. Moving on. Tilda Swinton is probably my favorite human of all of the humans. If aliens come down to Earth, I think we should offer up Tilda Swinton as an example of what humanity is capable of. Every time she's in a movie, she changes my entire perception of who she can be and what she can do. So now, all bets are off. Cher, she was in the movie Mask, which gave her cred, but then she was in the movie Moonstruck, which she had a really great performance, which won her an Oscar.
Snap out of it!
I mean, I don't know about that accent, because I'm from that area, and she doesn't really sound like she's from that area, but the movie was good, and she was great in it. So before that, people were like, Cher, sing us a song. And after that, they were like, Cher, act us a movie. People's perception, it changed. People were like, oh, now you can do that thing now. Cool. Do more of that thing that I like you doing. But also sing songs. Here are just a couple honorable mentions. Of course, we all know about the Matthew McConaughey that's been going on these last 10 years. The guy's pretty incredible. Everything he does is great. Actually, Brad Pitt changed my entire concept of what Brad Pitt is capable of when he was in Burn After Reading. Because before that, I was just like, he's just whatever. But Burn After Reading, watch the movie. He's hilarious. And he was just in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Love that movie. Highly recommend it. Go see it now after this video. Or pause this video, go see it, come back. Keanu Reeves. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, one of my favorite movies of all time. Very formative for me, made me want to be a rock and roller. But then he was in movies like Speed and The Matrix and the John Wick movies, and this guy just can do whatever he wants, because it's actually scientifically impossible to hate Keanu Reeves.
You're breathtaking!
Liam Neeson, Oscar Schindler himself, has a particular set of skills and will come find you and kill you. Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I think, is his finest performance. It's his most real, if you ask me. He doesn't really pull too many faces. He feels like a real guy going through a real thing, and they're on the Long Island Railroad, so there you go, Long Island again. A lot of it takes place in Montauk, which, by the way, Stranger Things was supposed to take place on Long Island also. Montauk. It all comes back to Long Island, really. Right, Joe? You can't chime in, you're from New Jersey. Jersey. Honorable mention, Chris Hemsworth, put him in more funny stuff. Nick Cage, a little bit of a controversial entry because it really depends on your perception on whether you think Nick Cage is good or not. He's kind of like a Brussels sprout. He can be good or terrible depending on what you put him in. And now for my top 3. When I was very young, I'd like to say this was about 10 years before I was born, Bruce Willis was in a TV romantic comedy called Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd, and nobody really took him that seriously until John McTiernan put him in the movie Die Hard as the lead. Completely changed anyone's perception of what he was capable of, and then for the next 30 years everybody was like, Bruce Willis, make action movies.
Thanks for the advice.
Bruce Willis, Liam Neeson's, they should get together. Number 2, Mr. Jonathan Travolta in Pulp Fiction. Nobody was taking John Travolta seriously at that time. People said, John Travolta, isn't he that dancer dude from the thing, from the show, from the movie? What's he doing now? Look who's talking now. He was just doing talking baby and talking dog movies at this point in his career. But then Quentin Tarantino came along and appropriately pointed out that John Travolta is actually not just an American icon, but a great actor. And he put him in Pulp Fiction. He wrote the part of Vincent Vega for John Travolta, thus forever changing how we think about John Travolta. Anybody post Pulp Fiction just thinks, oh yeah, John Travolta, great actor. But before that, nobody took that guy seriously. They just thought he was a washed up guy from the movie where he was dancing around a lot. Here's a bonus fact, the sequel to Saturday Night Fever, it's called Staying Alive. And it's directed by none other than Mr. Michael Sylvester Stallone. And for the number 1 game-changing, mind-blowing performance of all time, Charlize Theron in Monster. Before that movie, she was a romantic lead, quite good I might add, but when you watch that movie, I defy you to find Charlize Theron in the character Aileen Wuornos. She completely loses herself in that performance. She is utterly convincing as a real human being in that movie. She gained 30 pounds, she distorted her appearance, which ultimately broke her out of that romantic lead mold and made her a serious icon of acting. She's so good in Mad Max, and she's so good in everything else. She's actually not that good in that movie with Seth Rogen, because I just saw it, and I forgot that I saw it. It's not that good. She's good. Movie's not that good. She's always good, even if the movie is bad. And that is the hallmark of good craftspeople, which I admire. That's just a random smattering of a few of my favorite actors who completely overcome their image, in my mind at least. If you guys have a few, let me know in the comments below, because I love talking about this. You know, actors be acting, and sometimes they're really good and they're unrecognized for other talents that they might have. I just wanted to make this video just to show that no matter what people think of you, you can always challenge their perception. Never limit yourself to someone else's imagination. Because I believe as long as you work hard and as long as you be kind, you can get far in this world. You can do whatever you want to do as long as you do it well. Don't suck. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and please like this video and share it. It helps this channel. And if you can, it'd be really helpful if you pledged $1 or $2 a month to my Patreon. I'll put a link up there. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram, and also turn on those notifications if you know what's good for you. I'm Aristotle Full Throttle, you bro in the know at the fro, and I'll see you later. Moving on. Go ahead. Make my bed. Could you tell it was me? Bruce Willis.